want to talk to you today about the most remarkable recovery from injury I've ever witnessed. It's unique, it stands out. I performed return to play and rehab throughout my years in the National Football League and even early in college, and worked extensively with athletic trainers and physical therapists and doctors. You had to be a team to get the job done properly. But there's one recovery that to this day is mysterious, inexplicable from at least a natural level. And it involves a Hall of Fame player by the name of Reggie White. Now, Reggie White was known as the Minister of Defense. He was a giant of a man, and he was unique. When he was with us in Green Bay, he played every single position on the defensive line. So from an offensive lineman standpoint, you never knew where he was going to line up. He was that talented, and our defensive coordinator, Fritz Shermer at the time, he was really wise in how he used him. But when you had Reggie White on your defense, you were going to be a pretty good defense. And we had a lot of supporting players, but he was a mainstay, team leader, great locker room guy. Well, in 1995, during the regular season, actually it was toward the end of that regular season, Reggie tore his hamstring, and it was a grade 3 tear. Now, that is a bad one for those of you who don't know grade. That means there's a rupture. And so we were trying to make the decision on whether we were going to put him on injured reserve, and really it was no decision. So one day I took Reggie out and I put him through his pace. He could hardly walk. And so I delivered the bad news to Ron Wolf and Mike Holmgren. Pepper Burrows was our athletic trainer in those days. And they made the decision that the next day they were going to put him on IR. Now, when you have a player, and we were a good football team. We were a very good football team. In those days, the Dallas Cowboys and the San Francisco 49ers and the Packers, we were the 3 elite teams in the National Football Conference. When you have a player of that caliber and you're going to lose that level player, then it affects the mentality of the entire team. It can't help but do that. So word of that spread through the locker room that it was going to happen. I think we had 1 or 2 games left in that season to finish the season out before we hit the playoff run. So everybody kind of left the facility that day dismal. Well, I went home and I was talking to Pam, my wife, and Sharon, because Reggie was one of my closest personal friends. We were very close, remained very close, until the day he passed away. But I was down, and so I get a phone call about 8 o'clock that night. I'll never forget this. You wouldn't forget it either. And Reggie said, Big Daddy, my hamstring feels a lot better. I'm actually moving around like I've never moved around since I was hurt. I said, I was kind of taken back. I said, well, what do you want to do, big dog? I called him Big Dog. He called me Big Daddy. That was kind of an interchange. He said, Big Daddy, I'm going to come pick you up. We're going to go down to the Hudson Center, and I want you to put me through a workout. So I was a little hesitant, because I didn't want to make things worse. But we went down to the indoor facility, and this was very close to Christmas. So I take Reggie in the Hudson Center, and I put him through a little warm-up, moving remarkably well through this warm-up. Then we began to progressively move to those from the fundamental warm-up skills into the sports skills, hitting the sled, coming off the sled. And he was doing everything, and it was unbelievable to me. I'm there, and we're both laughing at what's going on. And I said, Reggie, what's the deal? And of course, Reggie was a minister. He said, I had people pray over me. He said, I think I've received healing. Now, I didn't have any other answer. He said, come on, let's get in the car and let's go over to Mike Holmgren's house and let's tell him. Well, I was a little hesitant about that. I'm not going to lie to you guys. One, is about 10 o'clock at night by this point. And number two, I thought Mike would probably think we're a couple of nuts coming over there that late at night. Well, Reggie was not going to be deterred in that. We went to Mike's house. I'll never forget it because he was out in front of his house and he was unplugging his Christmas lights. He saw us pull up, invited us in the house. We sat down, told him the story. I don't think he believed us, but Reggie, again, he wasn't going to be denied. So Mike said, I'll tell you what, we'll put you through a workout tomorrow before practice again, and we'll see what you're talking about here. And if things are as you guys say they are, then we might reconsider you going on injured reserve. Well, let's flash forward to that afternoon. It was like a circus, because by that time in our locker room, the team all knew what was going to happen. And so practice went on the back burner. Everybody watching Reggie, so we went out about 45 minutes before practice was going to start. Our personnel department was down there. Our team doctor, Pat McKenzie, who's still at Green Bay, came over. We were standing next to each other. I warmed Reggie up. We handed him over to his defensive line coach, Larry Brooks. He did the same thing. He went through the workout, and I'll never forget looking at Ron Wolf's face. Mike was kind of stoic, but Dr. Pat McKenzie, one of the most respected physicians to this day in the NFL, I'll never forget, he came up to me, he said, Ken, how is he doing that? I said, Doc, I don't have any natural explanation other than the one he gave me. How else can you explain it? So long story short, the team's down there watching. We do not put Reggie White on injured reserve. We go to the NFC Championship that year, and we lost to Dallas. We went into the fourth quarter winning the game, lost to Dallas. They were a very good football team in those days. And that was the end of the season. But to this day, an unbelievable, remarkable recovery, which I've never witnessed and I have no explanation for, other than the explanation that Reggie and I held, and still do to this day, that something wondrous happened. And that's the old coach for today. You never know. You never know. The human body's crazier, but the things outside of us, you can't quantify some things. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.